right, is now faster than it was. Near the finish, it's as fast as the boat. And quick question, has the handle pressure changed at all through the stroke? From say 3/4 slide all the way to the last part before you take the blade out, what is the resistance on the handle like? What's that? Decreasing? Nope. Increasing? Nope. Constant. If you're accelerating the boat, it's a constant resistance on the handle. Okay? You look at the video, if hands get quicker, that's the boat getting quicker because of constant pressure. Right? If you hit a ball in a frictionless space, it'll go at whatever you hit it at. If you keep hitting it with that same resistance, it'll accelerate. This is what we're doing with the boat. So, you got it in and you're redirected, and you're kicking, and then you're prying, and then you throw the shoulder and you outside hand down, and as soon as the bottom edge of the blade clears, snap of the inside wrist. And the handle should flip feather, not hold and roll. In that effort down, you've built resistance against the handle downward that can then be used in a twisting motion of the inside wrist to get the handle to spin. You don't even have to grip it. Not only that, the oarlock's designed to do it. And then a redirect away off the base of the thumb. Base of the thumb, here, like this, in here. Not a broken wrist. It's that. It's that. You want to be able to open up your outside hand and your inside hand off the feather. Ever try that? That. You want to be able to go away like that. All the way to at least half slide recovery. Keeping the handle pressure down and the wrist level. Not down and behind it. If you do this, what happens? The handle doesn't drop, right? But you felt like it did, and you feather out. You rip out. So it's an exit. Now watch this. It's an exit that becomes a feather. And that's very round. It's a tighter round than the front end, which is a bigger round in feeling. But nonetheless, it's a turn. Now, where's this going to help you? The amount of energy you're taking with you to bow is much more than you are when you're coming into the stern, right? It's accelerated mass. Now what happens if you just turn that around? How hard is it going to be to get half slide recovery? How hard is it going to be to get hands away and rebound? How many people feel like they come in and they go to pull and then take it out and then get started up the slide? Raise your hands. Don't be shy. Now I know when I was in college I felt this way. I didn't go to Penn, but I didn't have that luxury of education. Right. Well, it should feel like from the minute you snap it feathered, you don't feel anything, and all of a sudden, wow, I'm back at half slide. How the hell did that happen? That's how it should feel. It ought to feel like you actually have to put the brakes on as you come up onto the balls of your feet, as your heels are rising, because of all this momentum you're taking with you. If you did the finish right, the more aggressive it is, the easier it'll be coming back. Now that sounds crazy, but it's true. If you don't do the finish right, if there's no turn and it's a flat with a broken wrist or a handle in, handle straight back, right? What will most assuredly happen to you outside of instability in your boat is you will have to regenerate your energy to stern. Yes?
So, I get the finish. You're saying the blade should be completely out of the water before you
The bottom edge should just start to clear the water when you feather.
Because a lot of times I feel like I'm feathering before the blades.
That's right, and I understand that some of this has been taught. I think the lunch you mentioned that, right? That your Coach Bergman's asked you to get the blade halfway out and then start to roll it over. And I hoped I had impressed why that it shouldn't get all the way out. It should be fully out. And the reason is simply this. If you're starting to roll it out halfway out, that means you've already stopped, which means you had to try and stop earlier. in order for you to feel unencumbered and to fully send it and then just pop it out. You can't be thinking, I'm going to feather it earlier. Now, at the apex of the bow, when your blade is furthest to stern, where is the blade? Is it still in the water? Is it way out of the water? Where is it? Think of the other end and now make a comparative analysis. Bottom edge is just on the water, right? And where are your toes? Is all of your foot on the shoe? Where are the, in the turn of momentum, right? When you row feet out, everyone here, have you rowed feet out? Does it feel like you can finish? Right, you feel like you can't lay back enough. Why? Right, now what if what's gonna keep you from doing that? What part of the shoe? Top. So, just as the blade starts to clear the water, where's the top of your foot gonna be? Against the top of the shoe. For how long? Millisecond? And that is the thing, like the edge of the finger on the edge of the cliff, keeping you on for a millisecond. And what do you feel body-wise at that moment? What is flexing? Everybody right now, lean forward. Now throw your shoulders back. What stopped you? Your abs. Right. Your abs stopped you. So, at that moment of, all right, so you kick, you threw the back, then you threw the upper back, then it's get out. What at that moment happens? You'll feel the feet hit the top of the shoe, you'll feel your abs flex, and the oar will spring away from you. It is you making a wall of yourself. Now, if you're a wall and I come running up at you and I bump the wall, I'm gonna bounce back, right? You're gonna absorb me and then redirect me, right? And that's what that is. That moment when the feet hit the top of the shoe, the abs flex, is the redirecting of your momentum. Now, next question. Should there be anything slowing you down from the finish to half slide recovery? Matter of fact, that should you go to half slide recovery as fast as you were going to bow? Yes, why? What? Well, you are at the same seat as the boat, but that's not why. Why do you not want to be in the bow or take time in the bow? That's something to do with in our momentum, we don't want to interrupt it, take a lot of energy to then come in strong and then slow down back the other way. More importantly, what's going to happen with all our weight in the bow? That last bit, where is the direction when you start to push down of the force? It's into the seat. How long do we want that to last? Long enough to have our feet hit the top of the shoes, a millisecond, and then it's redirected. Now we go slow out of there. We are using energy to slow us down, because if you had all the energy going and you redirected it, that kind of thing, you don't want to impede. We don't want to sit around in the bow because it's weighting the bow down. And then more importantly, if we have this nice, uninterrupted, unefforted first half of the recovery where we're prepping our arm, our outside shoulder, right? We're prepping our lower back and our seat's coming under us. What are we then allowed to do? Generate a relaxed, nothing to do but square up in place, right? Recovery where we're all unifying to go into the square up and into the catch. That's your rest phase, second half of the recovery, okay? And it should be like a train coming into the station. You know, a train comes into the station, doesn't stop and then go in at a certain speed. It kind of comes in like that. With a nice loose from the deck up, from the waist up, a nice looseness that isn't coming in like that. I mean, it's like walking and chewing gum. The upper half of you is doing another loose, free thing. It's like the golfer who comes back. Do you see golfers do this and then that? No. They're kind of setting up for it. And then they get things moving, and everything looks fluid. Right? Well, this is what you're doing. You're setting up for the swing, right? And then they're redirecting of the club head, which is like you, redirecting your direction. You're then allowed to throw the hips, which is in your case kicking, the torso, the shoulder, right? It's the same idea. If you watch a golfer on the backswing into the drive, that's what you want your blade to look like, okay? That's how you want to feel. You don't want to feel, everyone swing your arms back and forth, and then, go ahead, it's not silly, just loosen up, swing your arms, now swing away to the air, and then right at the top, sense the top part, the turnaround, right? Sense it. Now make it rigid. Make it where you come up and stop abruptly, and then make it go back down. Does it feel the same? Well, guess what? We want the front end of our stroke to feel like the smooth, uninterrupted. Okay? It may seem, I know I got so many laughs going on right now, like, this guy's nuts. I kid you not. How it has to be is that way. You have to feel like you went into a motion that set the blade in, and you turn around with it. So it wasn't like I came up and I hit you. It was came up and I joined with you, then started to move you. Okay? Got it? There's a big difference in that. All right. You do it to me. Come up and slam it. Go ahead. Okay, right. Good. Now, did you sense the energy you had to build up and the tension? Now come up and meet me and now move me. Okay. Which was easier? The second one. Well, this is what we're doing on the boat. And as you get good at that, you can get fast at it. And you can learn to, within that, move things. How do I say? They say, I was talking to Coach Bergman about the front end being everything in an 8. It is. But people think that means you got to clobber it. Oh, it's the front end. I got to work real hard right here. That's not the truth. You got to learn how to blend with the boat better so that you can connect better and use your mass to move the boat. Right? It's the mass together that moves the boat. Okay? It's not just a series of 8 efforts straining hard at the front end to move the boat. The mass. So what you should be trying to do is learn how to prep the blade, set it on the way in and out so that it's smooth, it's quiet, it's subtle. It's not a rip. It's in the water deep and solid and dark without a lot of noise. The catch shouldn't sound like slap. That means you missed water and the blade face slapped the water. It shouldn't be a plop either. That's like a single. That's too much. Too soft. It's got to feel like a kind of like a snap, but hook. It's like a hook, you know. Chris always used to say hook, you know, hook and then shot, hook. But it's not. No, it's not a rifle shot. That's a snap. That's too. Yeah. You don't want this to happen. You want to come up against the water and move the water. Meaning until it stops from moving, then bends your oar and then moves your boat. Okay? That takes subtleness. So see, this is the no, don't worry. That's the sound of rowing it in, right? And we want to join with it. We just want it quiet, like quiet. I find it, then move it. That kind of thing. I said it. All right. Any questions about that? So you can hear your catch. Now, if we're all 8 rowing, and you're asked to look at your catch. As it's going to the water, what direction is it going to? Horizontally? Toward the stern of the bow? Bow. And then it touches the water, right? And then it has to go to the stern. So when you look out at your blade and you see it squared and you're not hitting the water yet, where does the blade have to be moving to? The bow, right? Until it hits. And what's doing that? Legs coming under you, body torquing out. Right? Now, an interesting thing. Just as the legs come to full compression, the blade has to hit the water. What if the blade still looks like it's falling to bow, but your seat is stopped? What's doing that? You're reaching. Well, how do you fix that? Prep early, right? Prep early to prevent that? How many people here do that? Overreach late with their seat stopped. Do you realize that that checks the boat similarly to you rowing it in? It's almost the same thing. It is subtly better. But the fact that your seat stopped, and here's why. Everybody, I want you to go into a squat and come right back up without stopping. All right, now everybody go down to a squat, stop, and then start up again. Which was easier? First one. Now let's top it all up. Let's go down to a squat and then right back up. But when you come up, notice your legs going up. Sense them. Do it again. Now, go down, stop, and don't try to bring your legs up, but try to open your back. Go down, stop, and then open your back, right? Now go down and don't stop, but try to open your back. Easy to do or hard to do? Which was easier to open your back with? Stop? One more time. We're going to go down, stop, and then which is easier to open your back with? Go down, stop, open your back. Go down, stop, then open your back, right? How about this? Hunch over first. Now, this is more like the stroke. Now go down, squat, stop. Now open your back. Okay, good. Now, try to do that again, but this time, don't stop when you try to open your back. So go down and go right back up. You know where I'm going with this?
Yes.
The seat that stops causes the body to reach. And my rule is the last thing going into the stern is what? No, hold on. It's a general rule. The last thing going into the stern will be the first thing going back to bow. Understand that? The last thing going, due to a body in motion, doesn't want to stop being in motion. If your seat stops and your trunk is moving, it'll be your trunk that'll be the first thing to want to go to bow. How many people here open with their back right away? And Coach Bergman wants your legs first. I know you were taught it.
There's a few more than that.
Yeah, right. Here's why. If you don't catch to the legs, which are the last thing moving into the stern, if you stop and then reach, the first thing that'll want to open is that overreach. For the reason that if I do this, I'm going to find out if it's true or not. I'm just flying on this. If I do this and I go down, stop, and then open, versus I do this, go down, no, it's harder to do. I know this, and in the boat. Not that coordinated. In the boat, the last thing moving to stern will be the first thing to bow. If you don't have it that it's your legs, it'll be something else, and it'll screw you for the rest of the stroke. And I liken it to this. Has anyone been doing cleans? You know when you get tired, you stop to go down as much, you don't go down in as much, you start using your back, and then you get your back involved with poor form. You start doing good mornings, right? Isn't it really hard to not to use your back in a squat if you got your legs moving nicely? And then as soon as it's like the back stops, the legs stop, and you start doing this, then you can't get the legs going right. Well, it's all to do with momentum. If you stop the legs, it's harder to start them. I think you all experienced that, right? When you went down and stopped, it was hard to start up again. When you went down and you were relaxed, you came right back up. Matter of fact, good squat technique. How many people your coach gave you squat technique? The strength coach. None of you here have had squat technique.
Everybody in the software should have their hands up.
Should all have this. Do you stop at the bottom? No, you loosen up a little bit, right? Why? Change directions. If you're doing a negative and then you want to do the positive, right? Are you gonna, the change of direction isn't I'm unnegativing, I'm positive. It's nothing positive. And that requires to loosen up. It's easier to be nothing, and notice when you do nothing, gravity will drop you a little. Well, on the front end of the stroke, you're coming in, you're compressing. Should your quads be all bound up? If they are, right? If they are, you're not relaxed and you're not fluid. Everyone should be able to get down in here like this, even as heavy as I am right now, and be real comfortable in the quads, loose, so that you can be springy. So the last bit of momentum coming in, you're loose. When you stop, you tighten up. Everybody go down and tighten up. Tighten up. Some of you will be tight already just being there. Now, loosen up and bounce a little bit. It's easy, right? Now tighten up. Can't bounce, can you? Try to drive right now with tight legs. Everybody ready? Up. Try to drive, right? Hard, right? Now, how many of you get up there and you try to make, you try to drive it, and it's, your legs are tight, it feels hard and slow, right? You're gonna edit that whole section about where I totally got you going. You got that? I just realized the camera was on. Hi, Mom. So, the concept of momentum, it isn't just, oh, I'm changing direction. It's like this. It's like, you're definitely adding that. It's like rubber. You gotta be loose. You can't be rigid. You can't be taut, tight. Even when you're driving, there's a difference between, go ahead, grab my arm, right? Go ahead. Now pull. Right? See how loose it is? I'm not fighting, right? Yeah, I can move them if I want, right? But I don't have to be, look at my arm. Ready? Go ahead, pull again. Look at my arm. Look at my arm as I move him. See? What? All right, get the point? You don't have to be tight to be strong and connected. You have to be fluid and quick. And that requires in itself looseness. You ever hear a story of boxers? Boxer, the rule is where? Where do you hit the opponent? Right. All right, good. But where do you hit them? Where are boxers trained to hit? If I'm going to hit you in the head, what part of your head am I aiming at? The back of your head. My punch comes in loose, and then as it connects, it tightens up. Because I like you, Keith. I like you.
You're the captain.
Right? And that's it. You can't tighten up in boxing. You have to be loose to be fast, right? And so your target is beyond your target, so to say, so that as you tighten up, the impact is felt. But if you were to tighten up to, say, hit his cheek, you'd never deliver the impact. Get it? And you wouldn't be fast. So I think this all sounds repetitive and silly to you maybe, but to me, it is the heart and soul of being not a rower, but an athlete in rowing. Okay? An athlete in rowing. An athlete is a person who can take their body and join it to equipment or with others in a way where there's efficiency and utilization in the task required. And when you look at the best athletes in the world, as an athlete, you have tremendous respect in any sport, not just your own, because you see the athleticism applied in the different sports. Now, I know Coach Bergman understands this because he was a ball player. And so